to literally nothing matters.
That's right.
The show where literally nothing matters because I have no more energy to give.
I feel like none of the girlies do. You know? No
We're
one
out here
has energy.
tired.
I think that's like the collective thought of everyone I talk to is like, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
Like,
How are you doing
wrong,
today?
Nothing's right. We're just tired.
Yeah. Things are fine. I'm just freaking sleepy. And like, that's okay.
Totes my goats.
Yeah. How are you doing this week?
We're good. We're good. We had a big week, and I think today I'm feeling just kind of calm and good.
You seem
living
calm.
in that just like content feeling.
Yeah.
So pretty good.
You seem calm and like grounded today.
That hasn't happened for a long time.
It's
and I
nice.
Agree. Yeah, it is nice.
I like it.
It's not a feeling I've had lately, so I'm happy to be here.
Love
Happy
it.
to be here. You know?
Aren't we all? We just had some sweet green.
Yep.
Shoveled
And
it.
some Easter eggs.
Scarfed it down our mouths.
Yeah.
Some Cadbury eggs. Highly recommend.
Highly recommend.
Yeah. Hot take. Totally new to the scene.
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm good. Also tired. But no, I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah.
Fab.
I feel like that's all the energy that I have to describe it.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm going. Well, I'm not going to give away all my rosebud thorns right off the bat. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
My rose, literally, no, Poe. Go lay down. Or stand there. My rose is that we're going to Arizona tomorrow.
I love that.
And I'm taking off 5 days of work.
That's huge.
And I can't wait.
Yes. You deserve a good break from work.
You too. And you're literally going to Arizona like the same time. Just
I know.
two ships passing in the night. 2 planes passing in the air.
Yes.
Literally.
What are you going to do there?
Great question.
Okay.
Because not to just complain about
Never. Not us.
my husband. But, well, so he has a work conference, so he has some work things to do, and we have like a couple like dinners we have to go to, and like a welcome party and that stuff, which will be fun.
Yeah.
And then we're supposed to stay in Scottsdale Friday night, because we're going a night early to like have some more like one-on-one time rather than just like work stuff with work people the whole time, because it's our 1-year wedding anniversary.
Congrats.
Thanks. But I don't believe that we have plans for that, and I don't believe that we have a hotel reserved for Friday night. So maybe that's the bud.
You know what?
That's the
Yeah, something to look forward to is housing for you. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little hiking
Yes.
per your recommendations.
They're so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite is Camelback.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's what I've heard.
There's a ton of them. Excellent. What else? Tell me more.
Oh, actually, okay, remember those like really crazy, like dancey spin videos that I showed you, that girl?
Oh, yes.
Power and Flow?
Yes.
Her studio's in Scottsdale.
No.
So I'm on the wait list for class on Saturday morning.
Okay.
I kind of feel bad. It's at 9 a.m., so I feel like it's like smack dab in the middle of the morning.
Okay.
And like Mark is for sure not going to come with me, but
No, of course
no.
not.
But like I might just go anyways.
Okay. So you're
We'll
one of
see.
those girls that goes on vacation and works out, is what you're
I
telling me.
just like
I'm not going to judge you, but like I am. I am.
No, I fangirl over this woman so freaking hard, and I like need to witness this in real life.
Yeah.
But besides that, it'll be like some hikes and then a laycation.
I love it. I love it.
So that's good. My thorn.
Yes.
So there are 2 ways that we could go with this.
Ooh.
One would be the embarrassing light version, which is that all winter long, and I have had it up to here.
Okay.
Very, very high raise with my hand for those listening. My hair and my hair is greasy and my scalp is dry. And so where are the girlies that have been suffering
Right here, girl.
from dry scalp and like straight up dandruff?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, but you're also greasy.
Yes. Like, I don't wash my hair that often because, like, what is the point of that? And so I'm like, the oils should be, like, helping this situation.
Right.
I bought a scalp exfoliator. I bought like a Head and Shoulders shampoo.
Yeah.
I then at the hairdresser, she like laughed at me when I told her that, so that was cool. And she,
Why would you laugh at you?
I don't know.
Let me live.
Right. I'm like, you
it.
think of dandruff, you think of Head and their marketing is very smart.
Yes. Yes.
And so she had me buy this like very moisturizing Moroccan oil shampoo and conditioner, which
Oh.
took
Was your
every
paycheck.
every last dollar to my name.
Yeah.
Which didn't do shit.
Didn't do shit.
And I have bought like a scalp oil. Nothing is working, and it's embarrassing. It makes you feel like you're like a dirty person.
Yeah.
So go off in the comments
How do I help myself?
if you have any
How do I
recommendations.
help my scalp? That should be our. That should be our.
Going red.
Our tagline. How do you help the scalp?
Yeah, literally.
I
Help
found
me.
this one thing at Target. It's like it has the nozzle that like you can get into like between all of like the little hairs
Yes, it's
and
like a
stuff.
dropper thing.
Yeah, and then I put it like it's like a shampoo, and then I literally use
Oh.
my nails and I scrub my scalp.
Okay.
And that kind of helps, but I mean, I am definitely not perfect.
Send me
because
the
I'm
link.
Definitely an oily girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And I normally like don't really have oily hair. I have very like thick hair, so I feel like it like
Yeah.
normally lasts me days, and it's not been doing that.
life,
So that's been a struggle.
Okay.
And then the darker version
Okay.
is like I have definitely been going through it over the last, like, honestly 6 months now since all of the changes, which I feel like we've talked about. And I like joke, I'm like, I'm just tired, I'm burnt out, and I don't like get emotional.
Yeah. It's okay.
But like I feel like it's like a little bit like more than that,
Yeah.
And I'm also PMSing, so
Oh,
like
it's okay. It's all right. It's all the above.
so that's not helping. But
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna reach out to my therapist and restart that, and like at least start there,
Yeah.
because it's felt like more than just like burnout recently, and like I feel like I'm like falling short in like serving my clients, and like falling short in like friendships, and like not able to be present with Mark, and like not having any capacity to like, oh my god, I did not.
I got space for you, babe. It's right here. Yeah.
Like no energy to like give to my family, and like my sister is pregnant with her first child, and I feel like I should be like present for this whole situation. I feel like I like just don't have anything to give anyone,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Okay.
and I'm also like PMSing, so I don't know if it's like maybe I should track that, and it's like, is it PMDD and like more specific to like hormonal fluctuations throughout the month, or is it just like good old regular anxiety and depression? Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
You're in it.
yeah, and I also feel like I've like just held it in for so long, being like,
No. We all do. And
'Cause,
that's
like-
the scary part of like I feel like there's two versions of yourself sometimes. It's like the face that you're like have, and you
Yeah.
can kind of be like, I'm good, I'm okay. But then
Yeah.
it's like, there's stuff going on. And so like that's so brave of you to say something, because I feel like a lot of us feel that, like I definitely am still in a little bit of a funk like that. And like I'd mentioned last time, like opening the floodgates to my therapist and being
Right.
like, I needed that so bad. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's okay. And I think that it's just scary of like, if there is something deeper, it's
Right.
okay, and there is help, and you are not alone in that feeling.
Yeah, I feel like it's like twofold. Like it's like it's scary because like you don't want to like open up the floodgates to it, because it's gonna be like worse before it gets better. I feel like
Yes.
facing it.
Yes.
But then also it feels like even though there's not a stigma anymore, it still does feel like a little bit of a stigma of like am I being dramatic? Or is this real? Or like are people gonna like think, I don't even know if it's like differently of me.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I do a lot of like, I think about my problems and I'm like, okay, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, why am
Yes.
I making a big deal about it? And
Yes.
it's like, no, it is a big deal. Like
Yeah.
these things that you have gone through, even the good things are
Right.
like life changing. Like you are in evolution right now. You've gotten married, you've moved houses, you've changed jobs, like you live in a new place. Like there's so many different things.
Yeah.
And it's like you're just trying to find your ground.
I know. And I feel like that's the other thing. I like have guilt of like, why do I feel like this when there is like literally so many good things happening. Like this should be such a happy time, and like obviously there's gonna be stress that comes along with it, but like it shouldn't feel the way that it feels.
Yeah, I was feeling the exact same way until literally this morning. So like I'll probably call you tomorrow and be like, Mandy, I'm there with you.
We're back.
We go see a therapist together.
Yes.
Yeah, it is a shitty and scary feeling.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, well, maybe I'll just try this one more thing and I'll come out of it. Maybe I'll just like, keep plugging along, keep going. And it's like, no, if there's something chemically going on, like you need help.
Like I think it's more than just a rut that like going to the gym is gonna fix. You know what I mean?
Yes, and you want to like I always, not always, but I'm like, I'm just gonna do this, and then I'm gonna tell my story of like I felt like this, and then I journaled, and then I was okay, and it's like no,
it's like unfortunately, that's not
this is
how
not
it works.
a fairy tale.
Sure isn't, but
I'm sorry you're going through that, but I'm here if you need anything.
I appreciate you, and you're the best. I'm like really the worst at
nothing,
like sharing that side or like admitting it. Like my mom always is like, you just always are like, everything's okay. She's like, it's okay for like you to not be okay. Like you can like share those things, and I'm like, literally no, I can't. So
what?
So that's crazy.
Yeah, I hear ya. What happened?
I don't know. Something just popped up.
Ooh. No. Are you looking at me? Is someone monitoring me?
It looks fine.
Okay.
Whatever.
We're here.
Whew.
Okay.
All right. Starting it off.
All right. Here we are. Welcome.
So maybe that's also my bud. I don't know.
Okay.
But also I started teaching some intro Pilates classes this week.
You worked your ass off on. That's another huge thing that you worked like a ton to get that certification.
Yeah, and it's not over yet.
Oh, it's
but
not?
nope, not
like,
till
there
June.
We go, right? Not till June.
Not till June.
Holy shit.
But because I'm a personal trainer and like I'm past certain modules, you can start. And like it's been so nice and lovely to like start. And I had this group of like, so at Lifetime there's a program called Aurora, which is for like the aging community.
I'm here for that.
It is the best part of my week. I teach a strength class, but then like 4 of them came in to do like a 30-minute intro Pilates class, and it was the cutest thing in the world. They're the best. So I feel like my butt is like, I'm excited to like continue to grow that and like connect with people.
I love that. There's always a little silver linings.
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Well, good for you. I am
How
proud of
about
you.
you?
You are more brave than I am. I feel like I was
love you so
literally in the
much.
same thing, and I was like, I can't talk about it because I'm going to lose my mind.
You
if
literally
I do.
talked about it. I don't know what you're talking about.
But proud of you. Here for you.
I
Okay.
appreciate you.
All right. So I'm going to start. I'll start with my thorn. We'll get that out of the way. There was actually 2 of them. One of them was feeling like, so if you know my husband, you know his personality is huge. Like he is a person who takes up energy in a room. Like
Not at all. What are you talking about? It's really weird of you to say.
he's like, you know, I kind like you could either love him or hate him type. Like he's a lot, and he's the most loving guy out there. You know, like he really only wants the best for anyone, but he has a huge personality and an energy force that is huge. And when he feels something, it is like, if you don't agree with me or you don't feel the same way, like that's not gonna come. It's not gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying, and like the way I'm trying to like become is more of like just putting things out there and letting them be, and just like, here we go. Like this is a feeling or a thought, and it is what it is. We don't need to change it, but here it is. And he's so opposite that. And something happened yesterday with the boat. There's like, so he's a lobsterman, and he, you know, works really hard. Something happened with the boat. He had to go rush and do it, and he was so mad. I mean, like, so mad at the person, and like hanging up on people, and just like venting off to me. And he does that a lot of like, and I mean, in a relationship, that's what you do. You vent to each other.
Right.
And he's going off and off. And I'm noticing myself like getting red, and I'm like, oh, like really embodying
like
his
rubbing
feeling.
off on you.
And I was like, holy shit, I am taking on this guy's energy like no other.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been feeling a lot lately that like, bless his soul, but he like copes with things differently than me. Like I'll get like that and then I can't get over it, whereas he gets like that, he lets it out, and then he's good. And so one of the things I've been noticing is like I'm taking on a little bit too much of other people's feelings and emotions, and like I need to kind of be like, what is safe for me, and like where do I feel comfortable with like you know, specifically my husband's big energetic forces. So that's been kind of like feeling overwhelming. And I don't really know how to navigate that conversation because I want him to feel like I'm there for him and I always will be. And I'm always on his team, even if I disagree with him. Like, but I'm not your therapist, you know?
Like how to set that kind of boundary.
Yeah.
That's tough. I don't know.
It's really hard. And yeah, so there's that. Another thorn happened with my baby. It was so sad. So if you're a mom, you might want to just fast forward over this real quick. She had her 9-month appointment. And I always do like so much research before to know like the immunizations and all of the things that they have to do. And everything I was looking up was like, at this appointment, they don't have any shots, but they get this little finger prick and they do the anemia and the lead test. All these different people had said their baby gets like never even cried. It was not a big deal, whatever. I had also read you could do it at 12 months and do like a bigger lab panel. So I kind of went into it of like, let's just wait for 12 months and we'll do the bigger lab panel.
Yeah.
Like there's no need to do something that's not needed. And so I said this to my doctor and she said, oh, at our office, we don't do a bigger lab. We actually do 3 shots at 12 months. So it might just be a better idea to do it today. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I read it was okay. Like not a big deal.
Yeah. Her little fingers.
So, yeah. So then the nurse comes in and I like look at her and she's wearing like a student nurse vest or whatever. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of uncomfortable. Like,
right.
I
you don't want to be that person,
yeah,
but also it's your baby.
I understand like people have to learn how to do things. Like I get it. So I'm just like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. Whatever. It'll be super quick. Then she's talking and she's like, oh, I hate having to do these. Like it's just like the worst. And I'm like, I'm already nervous about it, and now you're nervous about it, and
like I need you to be the strong force here.
Yes. And so she like is kind of stumbling through a couple things, gets a Band-Aid, like sticks it on her own finger, like it's chaotic, right? Chad's holding Annie, and then she comes over to do the little finger prick, and like Annie cries like when they do the finger prick, and I'm like, okay, you know, like worst part's over, whatever. Yeah. Then she's trying to get the blood and she just can't get the blood to like suck up into the thing. And so she had to keep wiping it away and then pressing the incision. And Annie was like freaking out. Like she was in a lot of pain. And it was a lot. It was me. And it happened like at least 10 times she like had to wipe away, squeeze on her finger, wipe away, squeeze on her finger. And I was sitting down and I got up and I was like, please stop. And she just kept doing it. And I was like getting very emotional. And I was like, I kind of like flipped out and I was like, get away from her. And I like physically went and I picked Annie up. And the nurse got upset and just ran out of the room. And a whole other, like the head nurse came in and was like, yeah, she just told me what had happened. You know, that it usually isn't like that. Kind of saying, you know, that was not normal.
You're like, I'm aware that wasn't a normal situation.
And I had like mixed emotions because I'm like, I get that she did not intend to like hurt the baby and, you know, she's just trying to learn. But also like if I say to stop, like
it's my
get away
child.
from my kid. And I was also kind of mad at Chad because he's holding her and I'm like, why didn't you do something, you know?
Right.
So it was just a really uncomfortable situation. She's
like
fine.
emotional.
I bet I was probably more upset than
but like, of course, you're a mama bear. Yeah. You have to protect her.
Yeah, it was not fun. So that was the thorn, the pricky thorn. You know,
that like my heart hurts for Annie.
I know, poor little babe.
I
she was like screaming, screaming, and then like right when I get her, she just nuzzled into me and hugged me and was like, "Mom, what are you doing to me?"
Right, and like that's a sad thing. It's like they just don't understand. It's not like a little kid or something where you can like explain it.
Right.
It's like she's just like, "Why are you hurting me?"
No. I know. So that was a thorn. And then they didn't even get enough blood, so we might have to go back and get more blood because, of course, it's like a state requirement that they get lead testing. And I'm like, listen, unless it is the head nurse, you are not taking blood from my child. I literally called. I was at Psycho the next day. That was like, I was really uncomfortable, but I need a different nurse. And they were understanding. So let's move on to my Rose.
Yeah.
So my Rose is a person. Oh my God.
I love this so much.
I love this so much.
I know where we're going with this.
So I'm going to start by kind of like explaining a teeny bit of my childhood. So I don't have a relationship with my dad. When I was young, when I was 2 years old, my mom and my dad got divorced. And I could go into the depths of it, but the abbreviated version was like, we never had a good relationship when I was growing up, my dad and I. And then when I was 18, we both kind of cut it off. It was the healthiest thing for us both to do. And with that kind of sever, you kind of say goodbye to a lot of things that you don't realize, like that whole side of the family, you know, like it's just kind of, I don't know, awkward.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had stayed in touch a little bit on Facebook with a couple of my relatives on that side, which was awesome. And like nothing terrible happened between me and any of the relatives, which is awesome. But I didn't have like a good, strong relationship with any of them anymore because it was just...
When are you even really going to see them?
Yeah, and everyone lived in different areas, all of those things. And so recently, starting this podcast, my Aunt Debbie, has been such an angel. She is my dad's sister, my dad's older sister, and she's always been an amazing aunt in my life. And like, I would visit her on summer times and everything, but like, just you grow up and this whole thing happened with my dad, and like, we had been a little bit in touch, but until I had Annie and now this podcast, we're kind of reconnecting. And she is like our cheerleader. She is on YouTube.
Yes.
She is on Spotify, Apple, Facebook. Like,
she has left a review on every single thing. And like, Auntie Debbie, if you're listening, we love you and we see you and we appreciate you. Invite all your friends to listen. Like, this is the energy we all need to be having and bringing to your loved ones, you know?
It is so nice. She comments on everything. She's our only review on Apple, Spotify.
Yeah.
And if you need a good, feel-good read, go and read it because it is the sweetest little note. It is a personal message to me, and I ate it up. Also, if you can go and read it and then review, that would be lovely as well. We're looking for some more.
Yeah, all of my aunts.
Yeah, where are your aunts, huh? I got the best one.
Yeah, I'm feeling personally triggered.
We're just gonna get love notes on them back and forth. Like,
we do love you. Come visit.
Oh my goodness. So she is fabulous. So thank you, Auntie Debbie. You have been a light, and she comments in our Facebook group. I think she's the only member in it.
Oh my god, I'm not even a member in it.
It's just me and Auntie Debbie just having a convo.
I should probably do that, huh?
Hysterical.
I'll add it to my to-do list.
So she is my Rose. My Bud is we are also going to Arizona the day after you leave, which is, of course. And like, I love Arizona. I feel like if I could live anywhere in the world, it would actually be Arizona. But, you know, my husband being a fisherman, that's kind of a tough one.
A little bit.
Can't find any oceans around there. Anyways, so we're going to Arizona, and even more importantly, we're going to my grandfather's retirement home.
Amazing.
And it is like the life for me. You know, like, we should all just move into a retirement home because it is an oasis. They have pools, they have mini golf, they have
mini golf,
they have like malls, like if you walk in, they have like anything you could want. They have like a cafe, they have like, I don't even know if I'm saying this right, billiards.
Yeah,
it's like such an old thing. They have like literally any recreational thing you would want to do. If you want to do like mechanics, like he's part of the mechanic club. He works with like, I don't know, woodworking, things like that. He literally, last time I was there, he's like, Caitlin, come here. I'm like, what? He's like, look what I made at my woodworking class. It was a vase to put his ashes for when he dies. Yep. He's like, isn't it beautiful? An urn. It was an actual urn. And he's like,
you're like, that's
up, and
dark,
I'm like,
but
okay. I mean, it is beautiful, sure. So
yeah, that's definitely the life I would like to live.
Yeah, like I drive the golf cart around. Like we don't leave the center.
Love a golf cart.
You know, like you think of Arizona like a trendy place. I think it's pretty trendy right now. Like Scottsdale, Sedona, and those are beautiful places.
Yeah.
But like, no, I am going to go live my retirement.
Phoenix, right?
We're in Phoenix. It's actually Sun City. It's like a little
Sounds
place outside of Phoenix.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it is fabulous. I'm very excited for my retirement week. And my other bud is something that I'm going to share at the end of our episode. Teasing you.
Secret project.
It's a really big thing in my life. And I'm excited to share it with you, but I'm going to make you wait. I'm going to make you wait. I'm going to tease you a little bit.
On the edge of our seats.
Okay. Whew. Let's go. Whew. Let's go, sister.
Let's do it, girl.
Okay, so we are going to talk all about jobs and careers and all of that good stuff. So
all of that annoying stuff.
annoying stuff. So we had recently put up like a poll asking how everyone's feeling about their jobs and careers. I was so surprised that most people are excited to be in their careers. I'm like, are you lying?
Yeah, I really thought it. Like, I looked at it and I was like, liars.
Right. I feel like you and I were the only ones that were like, I'm gonna quit.
Yeah, literally.
Anyways, so why don't you tell me a little bit about your career journey and kind of where you've started, like even back to your first job. I want to hear all the horror stories, you know?
Okay. Okay, well, my first job was like definitely pretty typical. I was a babysitter. Got peed on, pooped on, good stuff. Got slapped in the face one time by like a 3-year-old. That was cool. And my first like job, like where I was employed, was at a Panera Bread for 2 whole weeks.
Did you eat so many like cheddar broccoli
So
bowls
many.
or
Oh my
whatever?
God, yes. Except like you learn too much, you know?
Oh, like what's in them?
They show up as giant frozen bags of soup, and then they just throw in the bag in hot water to thaw them out, and then they scoop it out, and that's how it's made.
Oh my God.
At least back in like 2007.
I'm gonna
or
pretend like
whatever
they
it
don't
was.
do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, don't like it's worth it. They're so good.
worth
Who
it,
cares?
yeah.
You're not having Panera soup every
You're
single
just
day.
gonna
I
get
don't think.
cancer from
The
plastic
plastic,
like
yeah.
melting in with the broth. But
Yeah, for sure.
that's okay.
That didn't last long because my boss was a dick, and I don't deal well with authority. So,
No.
and then I got a job at like this really cute boutique. It was way more my vibe. Folded some clothes.
Ooh.
Got to like hang out with a couple other gals. It was
that.
good. And then, okay, my first job out of college was I was a recruiter at like a medical recruiter for like nurses and like travel doctors for a staffing agency, and it sucked. And I used to sit in the bathroom every single day and cry and count down like by the minute when the days would be over, and then be like, okay, only 4 more days to go, and like each hour would be like, okay, only 15 more minutes, and then there's only 4 hours left of the day. Like, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. I was only there for like 6 months, and then I got a job at Boston Magazine as a marketing assistant and like stayed there for a few years. And that was like, besides the fact that I got paid $0 basically, that I had to like negotiate for.
Yes.
And worked like 1 million hours. It was like the coolest, best job.
I wish you still had that job.
I know.
I was like your like trophy wife. Like bring me along for the deals. We went to so many fun things.
So many fun events. Like it was just like a cool way to like get connected to the city and like know about like the restaurants and all of that. So that was cool, like planning events. And then I got a job doing marketing for Cape Air, just like a regional airline, which was cool because I got to like bop around, go to Nantucket and stuff. And then I decided to just make a giant jump and quit that job and become a group fitness instructor.
Yeah.
Full time.
It was great.
And then since then I've kind of just been like doing the group fitness thing, and then I got my personal training certificate and got a few, continuing ed certificates. Worked for myself as a personal trainer a little bit, and now I'm at Lifetime
Yay.
as a full-time personal trainer. So it's
Awesome.
been a roller coaster.
What's been your favorite thing?
Like I should
question.
say, what I'm doing right now. My favorite thing really was event planning.
Okay.
I don't know, it was the best, but I feel like, which we'll get to, but I think one of the biggest things when like I was kind of choosing like, okay, do I want to be a full-time personal trainer, or do I want to like do my own event planning? You kind of have to decide like what you want your quality of life to be, and not that like my quality of life is like the perfect right now, but like I knew I didn't want to just work nights and weekends.
Totally.
And like that's kind of what you have to do if you're going to do event planning. So, yeah.
Okay.
But I do really, really like working in fitness, and like the connection that you get to make with people, and like you're helping people, and like that stuff makes it so worth it.
Yeah.
You know?
I love it.
Yeah. What about you?
What about me? So I also did a little bit of babysitting in my high school days. Yeah, I loved it. I've always loved kids, so I feel like it's always
Perfect
a good
for you.
time. But my first like real job, I worked at a dentist office, and I was like the bitch that literally cleaned like the tools
That
with
sounds
like lac on them.
awful.
Me and my best friend, we like worked at the same. I was like, you have to come work over here. It's the best ever. And then
And you're like,
then
you're
I
trapped.
get shipped. I was like, you got the job now, girl. Yeah, it was disgusting. I don't know what I was thinking.
That's so
and
funny.
like the dentist that ran it was definitely on a high horse and would like
Oh,
show
yeah.
up at the last minute, you know, as like the regal
Yeah.
actual dentists do, and everyone else did actual work. And,
Right.
You know, I just didn't. It wasn't a great.
But I feel like at that age, you just like take whatever you
Yeah,
can
you're like,
get.
I'm getting
Right.
$11 an hour.
Right?
It adds up so quick. And then after that, I worked at an insurance agency, and it was the best job ever.
Yeah?
I lucked out. I literally had to scan papers and then shred them, and that was the entire job. And they
Sounds great.
treated me like gold. They all loved me.
Yes.
Like they were just, they were such good people. Loved that job, and it paid great. It was like $20 an
Yes,
hour when I was like
insurance?
15.
Yes.
Yep.
Literally in college, I was an intern at Liberty Mutual, and they paid me $20 an hour. Like, bitch, what?
Like, I'm not making that now.
Why'd I
honey.
ever leave?
So I loved that job. And then when I went to college, I worked at the information desk at the MUB at UNH.
Yes.
And
I worked in them up too.
Oh, did you?
Union Court.
Oh, Union Court.
Making
Man,
smoothies.
You were really working, huh?
I was in the weeds.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I worked at the info desk, and
Yeah, that was the right job
It
to
was
get.
the best. I would just do my homework.
Yeah.
I would
You're
hang
smarter
out with
than
all
me.
the cool kids, you know. I was like the funniest job though, because I didn't know anything. People would call and be like, "Where can I park?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Figure it out. Google it.
Yeah, I was like, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah. That feels like a
Um,
job that might not be needed anymore.
Probably
Like,
not.
legit, just Google it.
Yeah.
We have smartphones.
Yeah. Yep. And I would get free popcorn because the movie theater was
Oh,
right
yeah.
across the way. It was such a good time. I loved that job. And then, so then when I graduated college, I worked at a daycare. And that was an experience and a half. I
Yeah.
feel like that's been actually challenging. Now I have a kid because I'm like, I never want them to be in a daycare because
Yeah.
I know the ins and outs of it. And I think there's better daycares and worse daycares.
Totally.
This wasn't terrible. Like the kids were safe, you know? But it's like, it's just, I don't know. It's like, let's pack all these kids into one tiny room all
Right.
day long. And like, what? I
Right.
don't know. I just think differently
Like,
now.
there's too many people, not enough teachers.
Yeah. And the teachers always care about the kids. That's literally never the problem. It's always the people that own these types of
Yeah.
companies that are just like,
Well, it's like, and the
trying to
teachers
make
aren't
a buck.
making enough.
no, they're
and-
not making enough. And the people that own it are just like, they're not in it for the right reasons. So I ended up quitting that job. And then I got into my career of teaching. And I had been a kindergarten teacher in Wareham, and then we moved to
Mhm.
Marblehead. I jumped right in, and I had been a second grade teacher for 5 or 6 years.
Crazy.
And it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's like one of those careers, and everyone knows like the life of a teacher. I don't even need to say it, but it's like
Right.
you're in it for the kids. That's kind of where I
Yeah.
am as a teacher. But we will definitely jump more into that too.
Yeah. What was your favorite job? The insurance job?
Yeah, like a job, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I was spoiled. I
Yeah.
was like, they were the best. I didn't have to have, like, I could go in whenever I wanted to. I wrote my hours on a sticky note, and they were just like, it was
Amazing.
insane. I don't know what they were thinking. Loved them. Perfect
Yeah.
angels. Perfect
Sounds
angels.
amazing.
So if we could all just do that for life, you know?
I
just
do miss having like a
smash 'em.
job, not a career. You
Yes.
know, like because there's like the lack of pressure. We're not paying bills yet.
Yeah.
It's just like you're getting some extra money.
Yes. Yes.
You just can like be present in like what you're doing and chill.
Exactly. One of the things I was just thinking about too when you were saying like job and career that I brought up, like your identity changes so much too when you're in
Yeah.
all of these different roles.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is such a big topic of conversation.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I feel like also, which we talked about in the first episode when we were like, let's introduce ourselves. But like, I feel like our society puts that on us a little bit of your job or your career is who you are
Yeah.
to your core, which can be great or can be like really limiting or
Yes.
detrimental. Like, I don't think it has to be that.
Right.
For some people, maybe that makes sense.
Right.
And for others, it's like, it can be more than just this one
Mhm.
thing.
Isn't it kind of funny how like your career could either be like who you are,
Yeah.
or it can just be a piece of you.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a right or wrong to either of those things. But it is like being a teacher. I'd mentioned this to you earlier, how like you have to be PG all the time. Like you can't get too, like you can have opinions, but don't say them.
Right.
Like you can be mad at like anything, but like don't say that out loud.
No.
You know, like you have to process everything, and everything you say has to come out neutral. You know, like
it's just hard.
A kid could do something really bad, but like that's it. You know, like you can't really do much about it. And like further than that, like myself, you know, I'm a teacher, but like I'm friends with some of the parents that I had on Facebook, which is always an interesting thing because it's like I love all of them. I've never had like a family that I have felt uncomfortable around, but it is like I feel like I have to be a certain person around them, whether they expect that or I expect that. But it's like it's hard to be your whole self instead of like just this piece, you know, because now you're on Facebook or something and it's like, all right, this is my whole life,
right?
But like, do you still trust me? Like, is everything okay still? Like, you feel like you're working for them, you know what I mean?
Totally.
And I probably put that on myself. But it's like you have your employer, the administration, but you also your families that you have are also
have to
people
be able
that
to
you
trust
have
you.
to. Yeah.
Or it's like, okay, if you post this one thing and like the kid's not in your class, but they know other parents whose kids are in your class and they don't like the thing that you post or
right. And it's like even political views, like that's a huge thing. Like I would never try to impose my political views on the students that I have because I do respect everyone has a different belief system.
Totally. And that's not what you're there to do.
Right. But also like I also have beliefs, you know? So it's like one of those finicky things of like you got to teach just neutrality in so many things and kindness. Like that's always like my main goal, but it's just an interesting facet of being a teacher. And I think a lot of careers have that, you know, like if you're a doctor, you have to be like pretty prim and proper, you know, like you have to always be right, you know?
Totally.
So that's always an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah. I know. I feel like in my current job, especially because it's very, we lost a light. It's very like corporate and everything. So maybe it's not even that it's because it's corporate, but like I am used to just like being my own brand and my own business, and like my own brand is kind of like neutral fitness and inclusive fitness and like accessible fitness that doesn't take over your life. And not that that's what they want it to be, but I feel like some of either the people that like I work with, or maybe it's myself putting the pressures on of like fitting this role that I'm supposed to be. Like I feel like I should be like the perfect like representation of health, and you know, like I don't know, every now and then someone will make a comment of like, oh well, I would never eat that, and I'm like, oh my god, get over it. Like I'm a normal person, so yes, I do have chocolate every single day and like stuff like that where I'm like, am I a faker?
Right?
If I like eat a normal, like I eat healthy, but like I also am a normal person, and I like eat bread and bagels and chocolate, and sometimes I don't feel like working out, and I think like that's a good side to share, but I also feel like in the industry it's like
it can be difficult. I do think that
you're not a good trainer.
Yeah. I think the whole like wave though of this new nutrition and physical health, I love where it's tracking, and I feel like you are just ahead of your time.
I don't know.
You're just well rounded. Okay,
we're trying, but it is like an interesting thing of like, just I think how do you choose what parts of your identity you share also, and even like within the workplace, whether it's like, you know, a corporate like business kind of job or a job like mine where I can feel like those lines are blurred a little bit. Like how much of yourself do you share with your coworkers? Sure. You know, like I feel like so many companies are like, we're a family, which I think is kind of a ploy.
Oh, for sure.
You know, like to manipulate you.
I saw a TikTok this morning of the guy like eating a cracker, and it was like, looking at the new employee, realize that we're all not just one big happy family. And I was cracking up. I was like,
Right.
Yes, it's a lie. When you're in an interview and everyone's like, what do you have for questions? And they're like, what do you love about your workplace? And everyone's like, the bonds that we have with each other. You're lying, okay?
Lies.
You're paid to be here, babe. It's okay.
Right. And like, I feel like sometimes it's okay to just be like, have some of those boundaries of like, we don't have to be best friends.
Right.
We're going to work together and it's going to be like good.
And that's the healthiest sometimes.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
definitely.
You don't have to know every aspect of my life outside of here.
Yeah. Unless it's me and you, because I need everything, okay?
Well, this is different.
Don't ever
this is
hide
different.
anything from me.
I will throw us pizza parties on Fridays, though, because we are a big, happy family.
I love that. Yes, excellent. Okay. So we had also on one of our Instagram thingamabobbers said, like, what are your thoughts around career kind of in general? And we got a lot of good stuff and a couple things I had written down. One of my friends mentioned, like, the thought of working for your retirement, or you're like a teacher works for their pension, right? At some point you can just like leave and get paid for it, and like the 401k and the benefits, and like the thought just around that in general of like, is it worth it? You know, like I'm always torn between that, and I feel like teachers get really pinholded into sticking it out because it's like, just work towards it. You got your 25 years and then like you're golden. And it's like one of those things sometimes of like, I like it. Like sometimes I don't like it, but does it light me on, like light my soul on fire? Sometimes, like sometimes, you know, and it is sticky. And it's like, it's one of those things of like the outlook of life. How do you want to live? It's a bigger question, I think, of instead of like, is it okay to work for your pension? I think it's more of like, I think you had mentioned something, a question. I think, what do you want to feel like? You know, like,
what do you want your day-to-day to feel like? Like, what do you want your life to feel like? Yeah.
And it's like, if you feel good, feeling safe and secure and comfortable in knowing that like your future is safe, then I think that's a beautiful story for you. You know, like, I think that that's amazing. If you feel good about that, like really feel good about it, then go for it.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
If you are someone like me, who is kind of more of like I'm thinking lately about like, I think there's a couple different ways you can live. And I think a lot of my past has been about living in fear, and the fear of the unknown, and the fear of not doing what my parents did, and you know, looking at the world as like something that's out to get me. And I feel like recently in my adult life, I'm trying to change it, and it's really freaking hard work of thinking about things of like assuming best intentions instead of just assuming things are going to be bad.
Yeah.
And so just going back to this bigger question of like, for me, I love the idea of feeling safe and secure because I need that, because I have a lot of like PTSD, honestly, from not having that.
Yeah.
But also I think there's so much beauty. And for me, like, this is an opinion, not a fact.
Yeah.
There's so much beauty in the unknown, because I feel like you can let things, you know, open up an opportunity and not know what's there. And instead of assuming, oh, something could go bad, something could go really friggin' good.
Yes.
You know, like something amazing can take place of that if you feel like that is something that you can step into.
Yeah. I feel like it's like following your gut, and not to get too like woo-woo with it.
You know, I am like woo-woo, tattoo it on my ass, give me all the spiritual shit.
But one of the biggest parts of manifestation is kind of like two parts of what you just said. So one, like not being super attached to the outcome. Like, so you're not just like gripping on, because that's kind of like a fearful kind of thing. Like, oh my God, if this one thing doesn't happen, like everything else will fall apart. Like being like open to many different outcomes. And then also like whatever you focus on expands. So like if you're always like, I hope this doesn't happen, and like I could do this, and then like this really bad thing could happen, like you're kind of manifesting that energy into your life, rather than being like, okay, this could happen, or but what if this amazing thing happens, you know? Which like, it's not like a foolproof, like you sit there and like wish things, but if you go into it with like I am going to make this happen, you're going to get up and you're going to do the work every day, rather than if you're like, well, what if this could happen? And you're just like sitting there scared.
Yeah. And two things I was thinking about too. one of them is like the universe doesn't hear negatives. So when you say things like, I don't want
Yes.
to be this or that, it's like they don't hear that. It ends up
Yeah,
being.
that's the whole thing.
Because you're so afraid of it. And now I forget the second thing, but it will come back to me. Oh, shit. Brain, come on.
The more you think about it, the farther away it
about
goes.
I'm really excited about it. Yeah, so I think it's just the way that you feel comfort in your life.
Yeah. And I think we were kind of talking about this before. Like, it can ebb and and
yes.
flow in like different seasons of life too. Like, there can be seasons of life where you need to just feel more secure and more just like, all right, this can just like be what's going on right now, and I need to like feel grounded and like be able to focus on other areas of my life, or like feel just that like peace and comfortability in what I'm doing. And then maybe there's like seasons of life where it's like time to take a risk and like do something bigger and focus more on
Yeah.
like.
Do you think that there's space to do both? Do you think you could do both? Like, do the crazy and be comfortable and safe?
Trying to figure that out, right? That's what we're trying to find.
Tell me the answers.
I wish I knew the answers because I am trying to figure it all out. Like, I feel like I mean, I changed jobs. Like, I was working for myself, and then I took a job at this corporate gym to like, you know, get more experience and all that, but mostly for like stability in like, all right, I'm going to be supported and I'll have more stable pay. I'll have benefits and all of that. And so like, it's kind of like, okay, I'm still doing my thing, but also getting some of it.
Yeah.
But it isn't totally the going off on your own craziness.
Okay.
So it's like, and maybe like that's like processing my own stuff right now.
I'm here for it.
Like, so maybe right now this is that season of life where like I need to find that middle ground.
Okay.
And be in that for a little bit before I can like maybe step out on my own again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe that will feel good. Just a little bit of security and like safety.
Yeah. I think also, which is never the answer, but it is helpful. Like I have been recognizing how helpful it is when you get freaking married and it's not just you by yourself.
Oh yeah.
Like it is.
Everyone go get married.
Yeah. Go find someone.
Go just depend on someone.
Yeah.
No.
Go hang out in the
that.
financial district and meet a businessman beau.
Yes.
And
We both married very rich. So that's our life plan.
yeah. I freaking wish. Love you, Mark. But
Train you.
But even just like, it really does open your eyes sometimes of like, you are at an advantage just having two incomes and like knowing that like, okay, if something goes wrong, at least there's someone else to like be there to help me figure it out. And like, you're not going to like be out on the streets, you know what I mean? Or just emotionally be on your own.
Right. Right. And I think another part of this too is even like your childhood of like you grew up one way, so you want it to be that way or opposite.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's like, I think sometimes I like am in an opportunity where I can step back from work a little bit, but I'm like, that is so privileged. Like, I don't deserve that, you know, because like growing up, I was dirt poor, and like my
like a
whole
belief that you
family would like, they still have judged me for taking, not my whole family, but a lot of them have been like, how could you take that much time off from work? Like, you got to start working for your pension again. Your retirement is waiting for you. And it's like, there is that fear of like, oh my God, you're missing out on your future.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
It's like all this pressure on us to like, are you climbing the ladder and are you going to make something of yourself? And I think it goes back to that, like, how do you define success?
Yeah.
And like, I think there are some people that like, that is their path.
Right.
Like climbing that ladder, whether it's corporate or not. And I think then there's also people who like kind of find what they want to do or find a job that like is comfortable and they like can chill there and be like genuinely happy there.
Sure.
Or even in different parts of life. Like there's sometimes where like, yeah, this is working and like I don't have to just be like hyper achieving. Like I feel like that's something that like growing up, you know, you only really get praise if you're getting A's and it's not good enough if you're not getting like certain grades, and you have to be in the AP classes and you have to be doing this and then you have to be doing the internships and you have to be getting the job. And it's like burnout from the years of just like, okay, I have to do all these right things and check it off. And then you get there and it's like, well, this isn't actually like feeling right. Yes. And I don't. And I still fall into that trap. Like I still, even though I know, I'm like, I hope that no one from work is listening to this.
But you were saying too, like you do love your work.
Yes,
you
no,
know?
like
so,
I love my work.
You can say what you need to.
But I just had a conversation about like different leadership paths and like, and she was even saying the thing of like, how you need to think about what you want your life to feel like. And I was thinking about
that question.
Like at first I was like all excited. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have a conversation about leadership roles. And like my boss had been like, I bet you're gonna be in a leadership role in just like a few months. Like I'd be so surprised if you're not.
Good?
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah, me too.
Right. I'm like, yeah, that's right. I'm going to be killing it. And then I'm like having this conversation and I'm like, this is great. And then I like got in my car after. I was like, I don't actually want any of the things
100%.
that I was just told.
Yes.
I just think I wanted that, like the accolade of,
yes.
Well, I'm improving and climbing. Like,
yes, honey.
yeah.
Yep. 100%. I
It's
remember
so
the
weird.
same conversation having it with my old principal. He brought me into the office and he was like, I think I see you as a principal. Like, I really think that you should go back and get
My
your
God, you would be
tags."
such a
And I
baller
was
principal.
Like, oh my God, yes. Thank you so much. You're right. I need to keep, what am I doing here? You peasant teacher.
Yes.
Bill. I'm moving on in my life.
Yes.
And then I remember going up in my classroom and I was like, what the heck? Man, I would hate to be a principal.
All
Are
the
you kidding
admin
me?
and all the drama, the
It's
politics.
literally the thing I don't like about teaching. Is
Yeah.
what administration is. You
Yes.
know? And it's like, what? Why would I ever do that? And it is to like get that accolade of like, well, you have like a title and you have a little bit more power, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it can even go back, like I said before. I don't want to like, you know, kick a dead horse. What is
Losing
going
all
on
the
right now?
lights.
We're losing all our power. And I'm over here like, listen. But I think it can go back to of like childhood situations too, of like
Yes.
feeling not good enough, you know, like,
Yes.
and like my dad at some point had said when I went to college, like, well, why are you going to go to UNH? Like, you're not smart enough to graduate with that. And like, those things stick with you,
Yeah.
you know? And like, I do the work and obviously that's BS. I've gotten a lot of degrees and
Right.
been very successful, but like in my head, like someone tells me I can do something better. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I got to prove to daddy that like I can do that.
Yeah.
And that's and it's so like subconscious. So I think, and I like challenge people to really think through those thoughts of like, is this for you? Is this for someone else? Or what is this?
Yeah. I mean, I literally, when I quit my job at Cape Air and I was teaching at like 3 different studios and doing like super part-time marketing for one of the studios, I lied to my dad for over a year saying, and I was like 25 or 26 at this point, like fully an adult on my own, and said I was having like a full-time marketing job at this gym.
Yeah. Yeah. And you want to like throw out terms to like make
Yeah.
it better.
Yeah. For a full year. I never actually even like had a conversation with him about
No,
what it really was. I think he just kind of finally put 2 and 2 together.
that's probably for the best.
Yeah. But like, that's messed up. Like, why? When he probably would have just been like, maybe concerned in just the, you know, the dad way of like, I just want to make sure you're taken care of and you're making smart decisions and stuff and like setting yourself up for success. And that generation's trajectory just looked a lot different and more linear than ours do. So like, I think he just like doesn't totally always get it. But he probably would have just been happy, but like, that's cool that you're doing your own thing.
Totally.
We've got daddy issues.
Yes. You can't tell by now. We'll have an episode on the daddy issues. No.
Should we talk about that a little bit? Like changing careers and...
Yeah.
Because a few people mentioned, we were talking about it, like how it was a little bit split. Like one person wrote in and was like, and I know this girl and she's the best, and she was working a job that she hated or like didn't like the lifestyle, like kind of that same thing. Like she didn't like how her life felt every day. And she decided to go back and get her master's and completely change her career path. Like she's still in school. It's like, it's been years, you know, like it's like a really big jump.
Yeah.
And so she wrote in and was like, it's never too late. Like you can do this. And then someone else was like, I'm interested in other things. So like, it is too late, and I don't think I want to go through all of that again.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm
Both
tired.
of those ways of thinking are correct.
Yeah. Totally.
Which is kind of crazy. It's just what you want to do.
Right. Like, I think it totally can be worth it sometimes to, like, if you have the capacity to, like, zero in and be like, all right, these next few years are going to suck and they're going to be a lot. But then after that, my life is going to look the way that I want it to. Maybe that's worth it. I don't really know. I'm sure it's different in every scenario.
Right.
But sometimes it's like, maybe it's finding a pocket of what you're doing that fits better.
Sure.
Than totally reinventing yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We don't know. That is why we are starting this podcast.
That is the theme of this podcast.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to you about a lot of things we don't know a lot about, but we'll figure it out together.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. Someone else had said the balance of finances and quality of life, and I know we kind of touched upon that throughout this conversation.
Yeah,
but
real tough.
It is tough, and it's like, if only... I mean, I do think that there needs to be a healthy balance. I would encourage anyone, if you really feel like you are, like, hurting in your job and you are not finding any bit of contentment in it, you gotta go. You gotta let it go.
For your mental health.
Yes. I think that, like, that is the number one thing of, like, that question of, like, when is it, like, time to go? You know? It's like, what is your mental health looking like? Are you getting in your car and, like, crying at the end of every workday? Are you, like, not sleeping because you're thinking about X, Y, and Z? Are you, when you talk about your job, are you just talking about the financial aspect of it? If that's true, then my opinion is that it's time to find something new.
Yeah. I feel like especially now in this economy, from what I have heard, there's like, it is like yours for the picking right now. Like there's a lot of jobs out there. I'm not saying it's like easy to make a jump, but there's so much remote work too. So like maybe if that is more of the speed that you need or something, like getting some kind of job that gives you a little bit more flexibility, or like there are other things out there. So don't be afraid to
like maybe you don't have to start a whole new
yourself.
Career. It's just like a different business or a different hours or something like that is like, it's not all or the other.
And I would also say, when like thinking about making jumps, I know we're kind of like now jumping all over the place, but like to sit down and have some conversations with people that are in either like at the company that you're thinking about working for, or like in the actual like types of roles and stuff. To get, because I feel like a lot of times it can really be like the grass is always greener, and in your head you're like, it's all these things, and really it's like maybe there's a lot more negatives that you're just not seeing. So I feel like those conversations can be really helpful. Even just to like get your own clarity. Like,
just choose your people smartly, because I think sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna call my best friend who has a very strong opinion on what I'm going to do. Or maybe like, you're like, I'll call my mom, and your mom's like, of course, do
neutral
this.
Parties.
So I think that that's smart too, of like choosing wisely who you're going to bring these topics up to, because it can feel more overwhelming than not.
100%.
Whew. All right. Did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I don't think so. I think mostly just like, work doesn't have to be everything all the time, even though we can be kind of like scared into thinking that it needs to be. And I definitely am trying to like find that balance. So I feel like growing up, I mean, my dad was like the main provider, so I get like that's a lot of pressure on him. But I feel like his personality type also has always been like, you like work, and that is life. And I feel like now getting older, I'm like, I don't want that to be my life. And it isn't totally, but like it kind of does feel like it is a lot of the times. Like I put too much pressure on it, too much energy and focus on it, rather than like pouring into my relationships, which like mean a lot more to me. And obviously that's the ideal scenario. Like, everyone wants to like spend more time with their friends and families, but like even just taking time to like reflect on like, how has the balance been? Like, It's not always going to feel balanced. Like it ebbs and flows, but
Totally.
being honest about what that feels like.
I like it.
Yeah. You want to share your big
Ooh,
news?
Big news. All right. This morning, I quit my job.
Me too. Just kidding.
You're like, I'm
Just
drafting an
kidding.
email right
For
now.
legal purposes, that was a joke. I love my job.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I quit my job and it is it's everything right now. I am a roller coaster, to be honest with you. So I have been on maternity leave. I went out in May of 2022 because I was having my baby in June. And I didn't want to leave at the end of the school year, like a couple days before the end of the year. Like, it wouldn't be fair for the kids. And so I was like, I'm just going to take the month off. Like, I have the days. I'm going to use it. And then when I was supposed to go back and the school year of this year, it was supposed to be like August or September. And I was like, there's no friggin' way. I was like a lunatic.
She was still
mom.
really young.
She was, but like women do it.
I mean, it's
women
insane.
are badasses. I'm so impressed with the women who have done that. And
I knew people that went back after like 8 weeks. Like,
yes, 6 weeks. You can go back. Like the state only allows for 6 weeks.
Like you're literally still bleeding at that point.
Oh,
what?
yeah, you are. Yep. Mm-hmm. It is wild. My headspace was not there. Like I was crying every other day, and I wasn't showered, and like it was we don't
no
sleep.
way.
I mean, it wouldn't be fair for anyone, and it
No.
really wouldn't have been healthy for the kids, for me, for the baby, for my husband, anything. So then I pushed it back to January, and then when January came around, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take the whole year off, and we have a new principal this year, and she's really sweet. She was really understanding, whatever. And then I'd been toying with this idea recently of like, what do I do? You know, like I haven't been able to get daycare for my baby. I have called everyone in Marblehead and no one is available. And then we were like, well, if we get a nanny, then that's going to be my whole paycheck. But like, you know, you can work just for your pension and your retirement. And then like you'll get your summers off and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, okay, thinking about that. And then it really came down to that kind of bigger question of like, what do you want your life to be like, you know?
Yeah.
And I wasn't loving being a teacher at the end of it. Like I was complaining a lot, never about the kids ever. But just like there's so much you have to do and you have to be perfect all the time. And I feel like I just wasn't doing a good job and I was mad at people. And it can be a little dramatic in schools. Like you can get mad at certain people, like administration. There's a lot of blame game around. There's like, you're trying to please everyone. Everyone has a different family structure that you're trying to kind of like be good with, you know, you want everyone to feel comfortable. And I was just not loving it. And so I was like, this is my opportunity. You know, it's like, and it's so funny because literally like as a backstory, I have had 6 years of college. I have my master's degree. I'm still paying off student loans. Like,
yeah, that's a real thing.
Like,
that's a reason enough to like stay in a job. I feel like people have that pressure too.
Totally. There's so much, but it's like now or never type of thing for me. And I am just so grateful that I have this opportunity. It's not sustainable whatsoever. Like I have no friggin' plan going forward.
But you're going to figure it out.
I'm going to figure it out, you know? And I'm so excited. Like there's a ton of fear. I'm like really scared, really, really scared. And like, I literally have checked my email because my principal hasn't even emailed me back yet. Like, I don't know if she's even seen it. I don't know. And I'm like, bleh.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I feel like it's like
Holy
you don't want to
shit.
disappoint people.
That's what it is. And I'm doing it for other people of like,
You
I
can't.
just don't want anyone to be mad at me.
Right.
You know?
And you
it's
can't
like,
live your
that is
life like
not-
that.
Yeah. And it comes down to like, well, now my daughter's going to have me every day. And like, that is so special to me and such like something
It's
that I'm
so special.
you know, like I have that opportunity and I need to take it because that's what I deserve and what she deserves.
And she's gonna get older so much like more quickly.
Yeah.
And
I'm just excited. I feel like I have a lot of ideas of things I want to explore and I wouldn't do them unless I really kicked myself in the ass. And now like I have to do something.
Yeah.
And so something will happen. Something grandiose will happen. I'm giving my year of yes. I'm starting it.
Yes.
I started a little while ago. I'm going to go a whole year of just like saying yes to the things that really feel good.
Yeah.
And like no bad feelings, but like I'm not going to do things for other people unless like it lights me up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to be as polite as I can, but like if someone
it's okay to say no.
Yeah, it's okay. You have to say no in order to say yes to certain things. And so I'm just going to go balls to the wall this year. I'm going to try to make everyone feel good. I'm going to try to do good.
Yeah.
I'm just going to try to do good and spread it and see what happens, you know?
I love that so
and I
much.
realize also that that's a very privileged place to say. I am lucky that my husband is like, let's figure it out together, but like, let's not get it twisted. He is like a blue collar lobsterman. Like, we do not have millions. Like,
yeah.
He literally drives around in a beat up Chevy, like 15 years old, with like roll up windows. Like, this poor child is like, sure,
got
quit
strong
your
arms.
job, babe.
Everything's fine. Totally
so
fine.
Those jacked arms, you know. But yeah, I'm super excited, and we'll see what happens.
It's an exciting season of life.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see what you do. And it's exciting to like see you in such like a place of, obviously it's scary, but like in a place of like peace with your decision. And if something isn't at least a little bit scary, like it's probably not the right thing. Like that means that you're like headed in the right direction, I think.
Yeah. And so,
I think it's great.
And I was thinking about it too, and it's like you always have to think about like what's the worst that could happen. And in
the worst that could happen, you just go back.
I just go back. That's literally the worst that could happen is I go and I get another teaching job. Like probably not at the same school because like they have to move on and like they easily replace you. So like let's not forget that either of like you are easily replaceable at most of these situations.
Yeah. But I think that's also freeing too because it's like going back to that all like we're a family, like you're just a number. So you gotta stand up for you.
Yes.
Like at the end of the day, because they would replace you. Not that like you don't bring individual things, but like they would replace you in a second. So like you have to protect yourself at the same time. Like they're protecting them. They're thinking of them.
Yep.
So in like almost all scenarios, you know?
Correct. So here we go.
I love it.
Now you're really stuck with me.
Yes.
Woo.
So lots of good podcast content coming out.
Yes.
We got some time.
Ooh, send me all your ideas. Like, what can I do this year? I am like on like Donkey Kong.
Yes.
I am gonna say yes to all of. If you have good ideas, share them with me. I'm just here. I'm just here for the
I
taking.
am here for it. I'll do a year of yes with you. Let's do
You're
it.
gonna regret that, girl.
I'm afraid.
Oh shit.
You're gonna make me do some weird
I'm gonna
things.
make you do some weird things.
Let's go on a wellness retreat.
We're gonna start with the sober circle. And then we're gonna...
Did we talk about that on last week's? Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god. Wow.
I couldn't remember if that was
I'll
just
start
us.
a Google Doc for all the things I'm gonna make you do.
All right, great.
I love this.
I might just not accept the invitation to share. Sorry, didn't get that one in my inbox. Weird.
But here we go.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to the Literally Nothing Matters podcast. Listen to us next Monday, wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Literally Nothing Matters Pod and find us on YouTube if you want to watch our video episodes. Make sure to rate and review and tell us how hilarious and beautiful we are.
Yes, just all of the above. Thanks, friends.
Thanks, friends. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Poe, you are stuck in the courts.
Oh. Were you so needy that, like, first hour? Oh, look, we cut down.